Welcome to the channel, and let's start with something called as atoms. What atoms are? Yep, a ball is made up of atoms, and ice cream, yeah, made up of atoms. Um, any other things, like you name it, a cloth, a condom, or something like that. Maybe like a wooden box or something. Maybe even living beings or living organism, like take a monkey, lion, or anything else. Like it's made up of smallest unit alive, that is cell, and cell, which is itself is made up of atoms. So it's start with the theory. Like it starts with people who are called nature philosophy, like worker philosopher of nature. They started to think about like what is the smallest unit possible to get, and we have a limit, that is an atom. How big is atom would be like supposedly, and assuming an atom to be a size of earth, how would be the nucleus, like how much big would be the nucleus in size of a and football or something like that. So let's go back in history and restart again what atoms are, and like see how many theories which are proposed by many scientists or physicists. Let's start with the earliest theory given by J.J. Thomson. Sir J.J. Thompson discovered itself. He discovered an electron, which is again a subparticle. So his theory was based on plum pudding model. He assumed the whole atom to be positively charged and having an electron all together, like spread in three-dimensional space altogether, making a plum. Yeah, a plum pudding, making a plum pudding. So this model was not quite accurate because after that, Sir Rutherford came up with his something like which changed the history of subparticles or particles. Uh, he did his gold foil experiment, in which he shot some rays on a gold foil and observed something which is quite noticeable. What he observed was there are some rays which are getting bounced back, and some are deviating from a certain angle, like in millions of them, only some, like one or two bounced back, six seven maybe they got deviated from in different angles. So he concluded that there is something which is affecting the, which is causing the deviation of these beta rays, which are, which are electrons basically, and which are positively charged. I'm sorry, it's not an electron, it's a positively charged helium atom. And he concluded there is something in between of these atoms which is causing this deviation. And he said it is also a positive charge thing, because positive and positive repel each other, that we know. Then after that, is a planetary model. Yeah, just like we have sun in the center, they have a positive nucleus at the center, and all the electrons revolving through in a perfect orbit. This theory failed because these three theories required something we know, or we call it as a non-exhaustible energy source. If this thing would have been possible, there, how can it be like an electron with going all around the nucleus in an orbit without losing any energy? So it might radiate. It has to be radiate. It has to radiate actually. So it will radiate an energy, and energy will be lost. After losing some x amount of energy, it will be very much like impossible for an atom to survive, and it should collapse directly into the positive nucleus. Ended up being like getting destroyed, annihilated and losing all the energy that they have into photons and other subatomic particles. But this is not possible, because as we see, like, we age, everybody aged, the stars, they are like billions of years ago made, and they still exist. So after that, Sir Niels Bohr came up with some different idea. What he said, there is no such thing like in an orbit. Electron exist inside an atom at different energy levels. So the more the energy an electron has, the more closer it is towards nucleus. So whenever electron gets like loses energy or jumps up an energy level, it will lose an energy, and it will gain an energy in the form of photon when it will jump into inner orbits. So this theory was the most perfect or the most appreciable theory ever, like, given by someone. But today, like, we have something called as quantum theory of an atom. Like, what exactly an atom is, really nobody knows what atom is. Like, for example, for someone who is like a dot, someone who has a conscious mind, and it's a dot, so it can see only a dot because he is one dimensional. He can see only one dimension. Something like a line, if line has a conscious, or paper, suppose, so a paper can see only a paper. It's a one two-dimensional thing. For example, human can process only three-dimensional objects. They can't see anything else beyond that, except like, for example, we can see one-dimensional objects, two-dimensional object, three-dimensional object. We can't perceive four-dimensional object. A car might look as a car, but something, maybe it's a different thing in other dimension. An atom is different in other dimension, maybe you can say that. What an atom is, how atom is, we don't know this answer, because, like, it's not about why atom exists. It's always about why don't. So the next theory regarding this atom is quantum theory, which says an electron is not an electron. There is no such thing called a particle, or a point particle, you say. There is a field, or you can say a cloud, which exists around the nucleus in definite energy levels, which is which depends on how the atom is like arranged, maybe. And something like, we say it as s orbital, b orbital, d orbital, f orbital. All these things are imaginary, they just exist. Like, we just need to understand things regarding mathematics. It's all mathematics. Physics is not mathematics. So everything is explained by mathematics. One is one, two is two, but why one is one, two is two, nobody knows. Like, yeah, we made it. One is one, two is two. So that's how thing goes. And orbitals and around, like, s orbital is totally spherical, p orbital is double shaped, d orbital is something like in a xy plane, dxy, dyz, dxz, x square, y square, dz square, and up coming up like f orbital. All these things, in reality, these things don't exist. An atom is like a field. It only has a positive massive center, including neutrons, which was like discovered, which was discovered by James Chadwick, and a proton. So if you want to make atom, catch a proton, catch an electron, make it. How cool these things are! Like, we can't even see, but we are like forcibly believed to these things as they exist, like the clouds, the galaxies, the planets, moons and all everything. It's all about atoms. Yeah, but yet we don't know about them. Yeah. So that's all for guys. I hope you guys like love this video.